Hollywood medium Tyler Henry, my friend. How are you doing?
Oh, doing great despite everything. How about you?
Yeah, we're, hanging in there, getting used to life. I mean, like, this is our new normal, right?
I know, I haven't gotten a haircut in like 6 months. That's what it feels like.
Well, it looks great. It looks great. Who are you quarantining with?
I have my mom, my dad, and my partner, but we live in two separate houses on the same property, so I keep them at bay a little bit. So that's been nice.
Oh, that's so nice. At least it's not lonely. What have you been doing to stay busy?
Well, I've been doing a lot of reading giveaways. I've been doing them through Skype, through the phone, and so it's been a kind of a good opportunity to catch up with clients in different time zones and whatnot. And I've been working on my second book, so I'm trying to kind of make the best of everything.
Oh, amazing. I was going to ask if you're doing readings via FaceTime and stuff like that. Is it harder to do it that way? Like, do you need to be in front of someone to get a more accurate reading?
I actually prefer to be distanced from the person. I feel like there's less distractions when you can kind of just talk into a phone versus if you're sitting with someone, they will often get emotional or often will make a facial, expression. So to not actually be able to see the client is sometimes even easier for me to
Oh,
connect.
okay. So you do some where you don't even see them, just over the phone.
Correct. Yeah. I just put people on speakerphone and I just ramble.
Wow. With this, this time being everyone being at home and everything being a little more quiet, are you able to kind of tune in more? Does it make it easier to do what you do, or does that not really make a difference?
I haven't really noticed a difference, but I think a big part of being able to connect to our intuition is being able to be mindful. And I think now with more free time, it does kind of give us the opportunity to meditate. So many people talk about how, oh, I'm too busy to meditate, I'm too busy to have a practice. Well, now we have the free time, most of us, to do that. So for me, I've taken the opportunity to try to just stay centered with everything going on.
Gosh, that would be so interesting. I meditate, and I was just thinking it would be so interesting for you to meditate because you have so much, like, that must be so important, even more important for you, someone like yourself, to have that practice.
For sure. I try to make it more of like a lifestyle than even just kind of sitting down and, at one time a day and crossing my legs and going, I try to find the opportunities to meditate just even if it's for 10 seconds, like listening to music or zoning out, or there's a lot of ways I think to meditate that go beyond just, sitting down and having a practice. It
Hmm.
can be, I think, something we implement into our day to day.
I've got to ask, is there anyone on the other side that you can find out from them when this is all going to be over?
I have no indications of that as of yet, but I do think in the next coming months, I think by summer we'll see some improvements. So.
Okay. Did you predict any of your clients or anyone getting sick with this?
I didn't see any of that, but I also haven't had any clients that I know of that have been ill, thank God. So that's
Oh, well,
a good
that's good.
thing.
That is a good thing. So, E and Bravo are going to be running this Hollywood Medium marathon, right? Why is this the perfect time for us to be able to binge Hollywood Medium?
Yeah. Well, I think, the goal has always been to try to provide hope and healing and closure and just basically to kind of take the load off, to provide some easement around what people are going through. And I think now, in obvious tumultuous times, it's a good opportunity to just kind of connect with ourselves, check in with ourselves. I think the news and everything is so scary and life is scary. And so my goal is just to kind of try to provide a little bit of comfort, try to take people's minds off of what's going on and let them know that we are going to get through this. We're going to be okay. And that it's important to still honor our loved ones, honor ourselves. And I think we can continue to do that.
Do you have any favorite readings if you get reflective on the series?
I would say Alice and Janney was probably one of my favorites just because it's Alice and Janney. Now, at the time, I really didn't know much about her. I didn't know really what she had been in. And then since then, I, Tanya came out, and that's one of my favorite movies. And obviously now I've caught up on Alice and Janney's cinematography, but she was by far one of my favorites. She was very stoic. I think she got more out of the reading than she was expecting. And so she kind of was like overwhelmed and didn't really know how to process it, I think. And
Hmm.
so since then, she's been in touch and we were going to do a follow up. So she's
Oh.
great.
I was going to ask if you've stayed in touch with many of your celebrity clients.
Yeah, I would say most of them. The Kardashians are still in touch with, of course, so many. Monica Potter from way back in season one. There's been a lot of really great relationships I've been able to kind of build even past just doing readings.
Oh, that's awesome. I was going to say, I bet they've been calling now saying, what do we do? When is this going to be better? Are we going to get it? Have you been getting those calls from anyone?
Well, I mean, everyone's concerned, obviously, but I kind of always say too, with the nature of readings, I see what I see, and I don't always have control over what comes through. So I always believe we kind of hear what we need to hear, typically, versus what we sometimes want to hear. So I kind of act more as a conduit, but I do, find that whatever comes through is usually with a purpose.
Oh, that's so awesome. Does your family have a favorite? I feel like your mom would have a favorite of yours.
I would say her favorite is probably LaToya
Oh,
Jackson,
yeah.
just because she got to meet her. It was so cathartic for her. She was a big fan of the Jackson 5 growing up,
So
so
cool.
it was really surreal for
What's
both
the
of them.
what's the craziest reading you've done, in your opinion?
Craziest reading? Really? I know this is going to sound strange, but my reading with Kris Jenner had one of the weirdest validations, I would say, ever on the show. I was sitting with her, and there was a reference to changing the window panes, a specific pair of window panes that she was sitting near. And she'd just had this conversation privately with the contractor before we had gotten there about getting these window panes replaced, but only these ones on this specific window. And for some reason, I was just like, you're going to get those window panes replaced. This person's coming through and acknowledging this whole conversation around getting these replaced. And sure enough, of the entire house, which obviously was a mansion, those were the one window she was trying to get removed. So it was really weird.
Yeah.
It blew my mind that that would come through, but then simultaneously, I think it was validation that whoever was coming through was still very much around and kind of aware for conversations.
Oh, this is awesome that people can binge watch it. I mean, now is the time to be binging everything, right?
Yeah, I think now it kind of gives an opportunity. People can Netflix and chill to the extent
Yeah.
much more than they're expecting. So
So true.
definitely.
What do you do when you encounter skeptics? Because of course they're going to be there and they're going to exist. How do you usually handle that?
Well, I embrace skepticism. I think it's important to listen to the information and to go with where the information leads. And so I think there's some differentiation to be made between being a skeptic and being a cynic. I think when you're cynical, you already have your mind made up and there's really going to be no changing it. Whereas with skeptics, I think they often want to see where the evidence leads. And so for that, that's why I put an emphasis on validation, on information that's only known between the person who passed and the individual I'm reading. And so whether it's Steve-O or Todd Chrisley, so there's different types of skeptics. You have scientific skeptics, you have religious skeptics. I find that so long as they're able to listen to the information, they typically make a change of heart.
That's a really good attitude to have towards it. Lastly, for all of our viewers, do you have any words of hope or guidance during this time?
Yeah, I mean, I would just say obviously the importance of self-quarantining, social distancing, and really just the importance of knowing we're going to get through this. This is just an event in history. It will pass. And I think if anything, it's a time to recollect, recenter, refocus. And I think the world will be better off for it in the future.
Oh, let us pray. Thank you, honey. Good to see you.
Absolutely.
Stay
Thank
safe.
you.
Thank you for watching. If you want more extra, hit the subscribe button and the bell so you'll never miss a video.